straight for draft number 3. Cursed Hollow is map number 3 in the best of 3 series, in the best of 5 series, sorry, I'm so used to the best of 3 format, of course, with all tournaments that we have, but now we have a best of 5 since we are in the playoffs of the Heroes Battle Arena. Powered by G2A and Twitch, and Fnatic and Dignitas, they are tied. Fnatic with a potential ban again on something like an ETC. It's always the question. It all centers around Kael'thas and, of course, Tyrande. Do you really want to get rid of one of those heroes in particular? Do you just like ban something else out, maybe like a tier 2 hero, because you're saying, hey, if we allow both, we are going to get one of them. And right now, Fnatic saying, okay, screw that Kael'thas. Away with that guy. Dignitas, they want to get rid of Tyrande. And in this case, of course, it makes sense. Fnatic would have had the first pick, and they go for Falstad. It's a very great pick for Cursed Hollow. We've been going over this in the past, but it's such an amazing hero with the mobility on the map, the auto-attack damage against single targets, the mighty gust to steal a boss away, to secure a tribute. He is so versatile on this map. It's also a great map, of course, for Tyrael, thanks to that holy ground in the later stage of the game, that we most likely will see Tyrael in some form participating in this draft. As a pick, as a ban, we're going to find out. Dignitas with an option to go for the ETC and Uther combo again, but they can start this also a little bit different. They can, for example, say, okay, we're going to take a Muradin, and we're going to use a Jaina together with that. ETC and Jaina would also be an opening that they can use here. Another hero that is very powerful on this map, which would have been an easy lockdown in the North American meta right now, is Zagara, for example. Great vision on the map, good morphs that you can get through. And we have seen pretty fun games, actually, between these guys. I mean, Dignitas in the last map already played a Chen. We had Fnatic earlier going up against the Rexa as well. So this is a pretty cool setup for both of the teams here. And Dignitas, they drop the Muradin. They have the chance to go now into Jaina or an Uther. Both of the heroes totally viable here. And especially with the Uther, you have a good setup towards the later stage of the draft, and we've been talking about it a lot. It gives you flexibility towards the melee assassin, Thrall, sometimes even a Zeratul, less likely, but very popular again in China and North America, and in Europe every now and then we are going to see him as well. At least we've seen already a couple of scrims with the hero. So there's a couple of things that you can really do in these scenarios. Dignitas is taking their time here, really thinking about what they want to drop next. That false set doesn't really combo yet with anything, so they don't really have to be too afraid. I suppose what you could be worried about is an ETC and Uther taken by Fnatic. But if Dignitas, for example, claims Uther at this point, then this is one of the things they don't have to worry about at all. Jaina, then again, is always a bit tempting if you want to get that burst damage in. So that's another hero that you could just try to lock down for yourself. So yeah, Cursed Hollow is definitely going to be the map where one of the teams, again, takes the lead. And a bit of momentum is never a bad thing. Oh, I was talking about Tyrael earlier. I didn't really expect them to commit this early to him, but they did do exactly that. Tyrael taken, and Fnatic reacts with Uther. Is it going to be the ETC for them? There's, of course, always the problem with the Tyrael on the opponent's team. You have that Sanctification as a counterpart to that play with the Mosh Pit. But still, Tyrael here for the boss still in the later stages of the game is going to be very solid, and also with the Sanctification can be quite nice here. So Fnatic has to think about if they really want to play it with an ETC here. If so, then probably Breeze would play the hero. He can also go again into Johanna. It's actually interesting how different teams currently value different heroes. For example, if you look at Na'Vi, they start to play a lot with the Nubarak again to also use the Cocoon with that 7 or that 8 second crowd control skill that you have there. Most of the other regions, when they play in a Nubarak, they will still go into the Locust Swarm, which gives you survivability, but Cocoon with that CC is great against a lot of heroes that can really have a bit of a impact in this case. Fnatic is taking their time on this one though. They have a few options here. Dignitas with the Muradin Tyrael commitment at the beginning, and that of course is also nice shields for them, so they could play this with a variety of healers as well, but for now it's more about what Fnatic is really going to try and do here. With that Uther alone, they already have the option to go into a melee assassin and later. They could go into a Sonya, for example, right now, since there is a good chance that if they go into anything else, Dignitas is going to ban it out. Instead, they lock down Thrall. What happened in the last game is that Sonya was banned out and Thrall was taken. And this is exactly the scenario that Fnatic is trying to avoid. If they end up in a scenario where they pick, let's say, an ETC, Dignitas bans out Sonya, picks Thrall themselves, and all of a sudden Fnatic is sitting there on their Uther and can't really handle him. Can't do anything with it. Of course, that leads into Dignitas banning out ETC, but that's something that Fnatic was absolutely alright with. They said, like, okay, we'd rather let ETC go, pick maybe the Johanna, or go into a different frontliner, but at least we have Thrall and can play with him again. That's something that they, of course, also tried to do in the last game. Didn't really work out the way that they intended, but back then they did not have that Uther either. So that's another thing that they can now try to rely upon. When it comes to the bans here for Fnatic, I mean, they're already looking at Tyrael. We have the Muradin here taken too. They could still think about banning out maybe the Jaina if they're a bit afraid of that damage output that she has. Zagara is another ban. Sylvanas can also be used. I mean, there's always the theoretical approach that you can go into Judgment plus Wailing Arrow. It's really good if you want to drop a hero at the backline. In this case, it could, for example, be a Falstad. It's usually not all that successful if your opponent is running an Uther, though. Most of the time, we still see Tyrael with the Sanctification. Wailing Arrow, of course, on Sylvanas either way. But in this case, I feel like the combo wouldn't really work too well for Dignitas, so I would not ban the hero out. Jaina, as already assumed, is indeed the ban, so she is going to be the one that they are trying to take away from the lineup that Muradin, or that Dignitas is running with Muradin and Tyrael. Now Dignitas, they can still go into a hero like Reyna, they can use Avala, they can use also that Sylvanas, the Gara, like all of these heroes that just dish out a bit of damage. And when it comes to map control, Zagara is pretty hard to beat. Zagara would probably be a pretty sweet hero for them at this point. Oh, the Sonya, of course, is still available too. Yeah, with Thrall taken and Fnatic banning out Jaina over Sonya, so we have, of course, Sonya as a potential hero. And they still needed a range damage dealer. They still need one, and they go up against the Falstad, by the way, who will go into this and heal the Giant Killer on level 13. So Falstad is going to have a field day. And if Fnatic decides to play a single warrior with maybe a Johanna, they could go into a Reyna as well if Dignitas doesn't pick him right now. And then they have 2 Giant Killer heroes with a potential Giant Killer on Thrall as well, which would make it 3 against a very warrior-heavy setup. Another hero for Fnatic would at this point also be Leoric, since the Paralyzing Rage makes it very difficult to for this entire setup to approach. Yeah, like Reyna and Leoric would be 2 heroes that I could see now. Leoric with a Thrall can be played. Paralyzing Rage is a pretty good talent, and you also have the Drain Hope. You could play Leoric Johanna, you could play Leoric and also Reyna. So if you want to have more range damage and more damage output in general, Giant Killer would be a very cool tool to take down these frontliners, because this is a very, very heavy frontline setup. That's 4 melee heroes right there. Yeah. One form or another of like the control at the front would really help them. They already have a couple of nice heroes. In this scenario, I mean, theoretically, you could even go into the Divine Storm on Uther. There's Johanna. Are they going to drop a Leoric here, or are we going to see another ranged hero? And if it is a ranged hero, is it going to be that Reyna with the Giant Killer? They could theoretically, I suppose, go into Avala with the multi-shot build to get the Frost Shot in on level 13. And the choice of Fnatic is... drum roll approach. Come on. The draft tool is a little bit slow today. That happens every now and then. Dignitas is going to pick their own. Hope that thing doesn't bug out. Hello? Oh! An Abathur! Alright, and a Sylvanas as the counterplay. Okay, cool. So no Leoric, no Giant Killer, and Abathur with the mines on the map, and then also, of course, then later on the slow, if he goes for the Symbiote build. But we have seen a lot of Locust focus, actually. So, interesting to see that. Thrall with an Abathur, Johanna with an Abathur, and then the Uther for the Divine Shield, whereas Dignitas decides to go into the Wailing Arrow. Okay, interesting last picks that we see here. Reyna completely ignored, and that is kind of cool. Fnatic versus Dignitas, game number 3 in the best of 5, and we're going to find out together now which team is going to take the lead in the semi-final of the playoffs here once again. So guys, stay tuned, we're going to jump into Cursed Hollow right away. This is going to be sweet. This is going to be sweet. We have already our invites. Which team is going to lead this time? The host by... yeah, they're switching the host around again. I really have to be starting to talk to these teams. Doesn't matter as far as I know who hosts, but it would be better if the same team hosts again. Alright. Priest immediately wants to go. I agree. Let's get this party started. The Karazhan cosplay. The color Karazhan cosplay. Alright, you get a retweet for this one. Game is about to start, guys. And yeah, so let's find out who's going to take game number 3 in the series here between the two of them. Fnatic to the left, and boys, get ready. Game number 3, everybody. Fnatic versus Dignitas. The best of 5 series with game number 3 starting. It is a tie. To the left side of the map, Fnatic on Cursed Hollow with Breeze on Johanna, Quacknix on Falstad. We're seeing Smexistal on Uther, Sypho on Abathur, and Mene this time on Thrall. Green Jesus. To the right side of the map, Bakery on Karazhan. For Dignitas, Snitch is playing Sylvanas in this game. Athero Angel on Tyrael, JPL on Sonya, and Schwimpy on Muradin. This game is going to decide who is going to take the lead in this series, and it's going to be a very fun one. I'm liking the setup that we have for the two teams here, and I have to admit that this series so far has been quite exciting. So let's see who's going to take it. We have already the Locust focus on the side of Abathur. Yeah, Quacknix moving out, seeing 5 heroes going straight for him, saying like, yeah, screw that, I'm out of here. But the rotation is happening, and maybe they can lock somebody down. They try to go for Sylvanas. The Haunting Wave saves Snitch. The rest of the team is still fighting, though, and they're just dashing away. So one tower nearly destroyed. It's, of course, that Sylvanas aggression play that we oftentimes see at the beginning of the game. Very, very powerful, and the rest of them is just like rotating around on the map as we speak. We have on Cursed Hollow, of course, a focused onto the tribute. Oh, the kill against Sonya. Well done. Fnatic get their kill in, and they're actually trying to go for Bakery now too, but he is going for a quick heal. Falstad, of course, going straight into the Seasoned Marksman build, and especially his level 13 talent is going to be quite the menace when we're talking about the counterplay against Dignitas, because they are running a very frontline heavy setup with a lot of tanks here, and of course Giant Killer is going to be amazing to deal with that. Again, the build that we've seen in the last game, Rolling Thunder on level 1 for Thrall. We're having also the Night Take Spawn take, and of course for Johanna, but the top lane is suffering a bit of damage at the hands of Bakery, Snitch and JPL. And the rotation is happening with the wind. We have Shot of Fury taken as the talents. So pretty standard stuff here. And especially Abathur, of course, is going to be quite fun. Usually you see him with the Toxic Nest build on level 4, level 7, and then later on 13 and 16, it's the Locusts again, trying to just like push the lanes and get experience on the lane, which is of course one of the main reasons why you would go for the hero. Double Thrall is definitely going to be appearing once or twice during this game, and that's always scary. As Smexistal and Mena are waiting for a chance to move in. There's very little that they can do at this point, so Thrall is actually starting to switch over with Falstad. Thrall himself wants to go up against the melee hero, so they go straight into the mid lane. And Abathur at the bot lane will have to soak the lane. So far he's actually doing a pretty decent job against Shrimpy, always just using the symbiote here as much as he can. We're seeing Sonya start to rotate towards the mercenary camps. 2 minutes into the game, mercenary camps are spawning. 3 minutes into the game, we're seeing the bosses appear on the map. And Sonya, of course, can easily take these guys down alone, and that's one of the main reasons why she rotated over there right away. Level 4 talent, as we already said, going straight into the Ballistos Force. We have the Ride the Lightning taken, so a bit of an adjustment in the build for Thrall now that Mene is playing the hero. We have the level 4 talents for both sides, 1 protective shield taken, Karazhan and Uther going for the same talent here. Already a claim on the first mercenary camp in the map, but of course the same thing is happening over here as Fnatic is going for it too. Laws of Hope for Breeze. So in the last game he went for the Eternal Retaliation, trying to just make sure that they get an opportunity to use that cooldown or to use that Condemn as often as possible during the fights. This time with the change in healers, it's a bit of a different setup that they're running here. Already the attempt to get that tribute, but Mena with a Chain Lightning can easily stun them out there. Yeah, Breeze already moving in. Could use the shield there, doesn't have it, and the tribute ends up in the hands of Bakery. Breeze was not able to move in far enough to cancel it out. Bit unfortunate for him here. So that's a pretty bad move actually. Well, it's not a bad move by Breeze or any of them, but that they lose the tribute, that is bad for them. Because the problem that they have is that the whole idea of running an Abathur is to soak experience at the other end of the map. So in this case, even if you don't take that tribute, and it's really difficult in the early stages of the game with an Abathur to take the tribute because you don't have the Ultimate Evolution copy yet on Abathur. But the idea is still to use Cypher at the bot lane, hide him somewhere here, try to soak the experience, and just delay the tribute channel for as long as you possibly can with Shield Glare, with of course the Hammerang, with also the Chain Lightning and the Wave of Light, just to make sure that you can just prolong this soak experience, get a little bit ahead, and that's one of the main reasons why you run for such a setup. That this doesn't work out is a bit annoying for Fnatic now, and they are still ahead in experience, but it's a big problem. It's something where they could have tried to just really get a much bigger lead than they just did. They still use that Siege Giant camp that they had. It's of course also being used at the bot lane, but Falstad is moving in, and together with Abathur they are just pushing this back quite easily. But the top lane, as we said, there's quite a bit of pressure. Mena had to rotate away, but both of the towers are now fairly low in HP. With the level 4 talents, we have once again the Amplified Healing and Regeneration Master. Now on Tyrael, you see oftentimes also the Smite talent taken for the extra damage. It's more or less a question of what kind of setup you are running. And in this case, Tyrael decided that he wants to have the extra sustain. It's actually an interesting choice. With the setup that they have, he could have definitely decided to go into the Smite talents instead. Cooldown reduction on level 4, and then on level 1 with a Purge Evil, the extra damage against heroes when you drop it in. Abathur is on the map again, and Tribute number 2 is now appearing as we speak. Cypher could move down to the bot lane if they want to fight for it. Already half the team is rotating over. Level 7 talents, first of all, for Fnatic, but Dignitas is close behind. There comes Breeze, starts to go for the shield glare, zones it out once. The fight is starting, but it is still a 4 versus 5 as Abathur can only contribute with the Symbiote, and Bakery gets an easy channel on the second Tribute. They are 2-0. This is of course always one of the bigger problems that you have. Nice condemn. This could be the end of one of these two bad boys there, but Bakery dashes away, and Snitch has of course the Haunting Wave that he can jump to. In the mid lane, we have Abathur soaking experience at the wall here. Level 7 talents also brought us now the Wind Shear talent. So even though we have the focus on the 2 lightning talents, we are not seeing follow through, and that is one of the hybrid builds that I actually explained earlier. You go for Wind Shear on level 7, level 13 and level 16. Unless, of course, you have to make a couple of adjustments because of the talents or the heroes that your opponent plays. And then you have still those 2 lightning talents at the start and solid damage on your auto attacks as well. Talking about auto attacks, we see Mena moving in the mid lane against the Thera Angel. The 2 teams are now both on level 8. 1 kill thus far, and that was the kill against Team Dignitas. So currently, Fnatic is playing a pretty solid game, actually, considering. The problem for them is really just that 2 tributes that have been already soaked on the side of Dignitas. Without that ultimate evolution, the early game tributes are pretty difficult to take, since you can only rely on the symbiote, so you have only 4 bodies in the battle, and that means of course 4 hit point pools. So for now, another tribute spawns, and this is going to get a bit tricky for Fnatic. I mean, they have to kind of defend against this one, or try to channel it, but Dignitas is going to do their best to take that now. Or are they just attempting to get ahead in experience? They have Snitch at the top, and that alone leans towards getting the experience instead. So Snitch is going straight for it, dropping the tower. As the tribute is captured, yes, they let it go. They realize that they don't have to go for the tribute, so instead they are just like all the way on the lane, up at the top, up at the bot lane, soak the XP, and they start to take the lead now. So level 9.5 has been taken. The heroic abilities will be up soon. That's going to be a pretty important one. Already, oh, sorry, my bad. A little bit of pressure here with Bakery in position. Bakery and Mena, a little bit of a fight between the 2 of them. But now the Haunting Wave is being used by Snitch to actually like slow that approach down as well. Yeah, Snitch needs to be careful. The Haunting Wave is in cooldown, and that could be the kill. Wow, Divine Palm just in the last second. And we have now Leap taken too, and there we go. Leaps in, and Mena still survives, rushes away in the last second. Sanctification, Wailing Arrow, and Avatar has been chosen. It's always interesting to see these changes between servers, between the meta. And in this case, one of the few that I want to highlight again is that we are seeing on North America nearly exclusively the 7-sided strike chosen. So on North America, 7-sided strike is basically the talent for every Karazhan player out there. And very, very rarely will you see a Divine Palm. Whereas in Europe, it's the exact opposite. Most of the time, 95% I'd say, we see the Divine Palm taken, and only in very special circumstances, it is the 7-sided strike. Double Thrall, zoning, and this is tribute number 2. So the next tribute is going to curse one of the teams. We have Cypher on the copy. It's a very low cooldown now, of course. Cooldown was at some point 70 seconds. Now it's at 50. It was a huge reduction. And the save for Abathur. Yes, Abathur is saved. All right. The slug is thankful. So at least for now that works. But Schwimpy is also stunned out. And that's the kill against him. Nicely done. Quarknix and Breeze, they go for the kill together. So of course a couple of heroics that they had to use there. Boss at the top lane is also being attacked, but it's very unlikely that they can move in with this. There is still Sundering available, and the boss is getting leeched. Was a nice attempt by Dignitas to go for boss here, especially as of course through 2-3 heroes were already committed to the bot lane pressure play against Muradin. But still, was not sneaked away. Fnatic was paying attention to the minimap. It was a very important one at that. So we have 2 kills against 0 now in favor of the team in blue. Keep in mind that this is game number 3, right? So we have like potentially 2 more games, potentially 3 more games, and it's all about how you really make this play right now. We have in this case one team that's going to take the lead here. Thrall already together with Quarknix takes another camp on the map, and we have with the Tribute and the Curse Tribute at that, the rotation happening. Shrimpy with the Stormbolt, Bakery is gonna go for the Channeler, he's trying to, Breeze with the Shield, Claire can zone him out, and here comes the Hammer, falls that first of all. The copy already on Thrall, they're trying to zone again, can they get the Curse here? They're moving in for the potential kill, Snitch gets the Divine Palm, Leap as the initiation, they jump in, Sundering used, and they go straight for that kill. The copy on Thrall is nearly expired, so that will die any second now, dropping one body in the battle. But we have now solid attack against, of course, Dignitas, but with Bakery healing everybody out. This is looking very solid for them right now. A Monk with great healing power in this case, and it looks very much like the Curse is going to hit Fnatic, unless, of course, they can make a play now with that Symbiote on Thrall. Mid lane is still pushing, top lane is pushing, a lead in experience for Fnatic, but it doesn't really help them if they lose that Curse, and it looks very much like they're going to lose the Tribute, and there's another interrupt, but the Stormbolt is hitting Thrall, he's low on mana, and they're going straight in for another potential fight here. Curse is hitting, and it's hitting hard. Abathur has to make sure that he's everywhere on the map now, starting to pressure the lanes back. Gets a bit of soak, but yeah, there's the level 13 talent. It's a few seconds too late, but by now we have the Bombard strain taken. There's also finally the Giant Killer, which is going to make it so much easier for Falstad to take down the hit points of these frontliners that Dignitas is running in this game. Johanna with also more damage with Burning Rage. There's so much melee in this game that he's just saying, hey, if I go for Burning Rage right now, I'm going to get a massive amount of damage out of it, much more than if I go for any other talent. And we have now also Giant Killer used on 13. As I said before, usually Thrall would have gone for the Grace of Air on the level 13, which is another Wind Fury talent. But considering the circumstances here, it makes perfect sense for him to adjust the build a bit, not go for the normal Wind Fury build, but instead go for the Giant Killer to make sure that they have an opportunity to take a few of those hit points down faster. It's actually a very nice bonus with 1.5% that really adds up. And we have now level 13 talents nearly ready also on the side of Team Dignitas. I love that leap, by the way. Going in with Sonya, using that leap can be great, and if you run this much of a melee-heavy setup, then it's definitely a good one. Yes, Wrath of the Berserker is of course a great talent to take, but they already have the damage, they have the sustain thanks to the shields on Tyrael, and they are really trying to just play and cater to their strengths now. So we have Relentless taken, there's Evasive Fire, Imposing Will, and of course Mystical Spear plus the Thunderstrike now as the remaining talents on the heroes. With that being said, we are running into a situation where in terms of like damage output overall, and also of course when it comes to the healing, we see 15,000 heals on the side of Uther, and we have 35,000 already for Karazim. With this heavy setup, or this melee heavy setup here, Karazim and the way that he dishes out healing numbers is of course extremely powerful. Not only the auto attacks, but also every single time he goes here for the Circle of Life, which he will take on level 16, but just uses that Echo of Heaven as well. He's in a very solid position to just get massive amounts of heal out on the map. And for now, we have besides that also, of course, the potential for them to go for one of the bosses. They are still a little bit behind. The Curse actually did a bit of damage, but they're still a level behind. Fnatic, that is. Sorry, Dignitas, that is. Dignitas has now a spot where they have still not taken a kill, by the way, but they have a very solid position on the map in the way that they took down those structures. Can they really take the boss, though? That might be a bit too much. Tyrael with the Sanctification can be nice, but here comes again the Thrall copy. They're starting to move in and keep Quarknix in mind with the Mighty Gust here. They're going for Mena. There comes the Mighty Gust, putting them into a corner. Sundering used, and the Divine Palm saving again Sonya. But this fight is not over just yet. In comes the Sanctification. Cypher is moving away. His copy expires. There is still the boss, and Mighty Gust has been used. They're jumping in, and here comes Breeze with immediately the Symbiote. They're going for Shrimpy. The boss is still fighting though. Down goes, well, actually jumps away. Muradin jumps away, and Sonya goes down. They go for the boss, and they steal it away. Level 16 talents make it possible. Great play here by Fnatic. They get the boss. They are now nearly 2 levels ahead, and with this, Abathur can move to the top lane and use now the Locust Brute they took on level 13. Additional sustain thanks to the Holy Renewal on Johanna. In the mid lane, we're having Snitch trying to push this back, and of course, Abathur is doing Abathur things at this point. Should probably slap this wall down here. And it's a curse potential here also for them now. The curse should be easily taken. 16 talent now with the Tempest Fury. Boss is still doing damage, and if they go for the tribute right now, they can of course do so much more. Might even aim for the boss up at the top lane. And already Dignitas is trying to destroy the one down here to the bottom. The rest of the team, are they gonna move up to the top? Falstad could fly in. Here's the curse already, and now they can simply fly in up to the top. Avatar is already gonna push, and it looks very much like that might be happening. They don't go for the middle fort now, and this looks more and more like it's gonna be another boss attempt by them. And they have Mighty Gus back in just a second. Dignitas, of course, I mean, these guys are not looking in the map and are thinking like, oh my god, what could they possibly be doing? They of course know what's happening here, but they decide to not go for it since they do not have the level 16 talent just yet. So they are trying to just like soak the lanes even more. And yep, there's the attack against the boss, and with the curse, it's going to be very difficult to save these keeps. So Fnatic again with the lead here, 3 kills against 0, and that, especially that Avatar is going to become very dangerous now with those Locust Brutes. So they move in, they take down the first few structures, and they aim straight for the fort. Could have actually destroyed the wall here instead and also taken down the minions, but they're going to get that eventually, since the boss at the top lane is now making its way over. 13 seconds on the curse, and here comes again Fnatic. They're going for Breeze, jumping out. Schwimpy actually on Muradin. Breeze moves in, and we have them starting to rotate over again. Now Mene up at the front, yep, looking strong, going for the tower again, dropping the first, dropping the second. Curse is over. Level 16 talents now also for Dignitas, but still Fnatic is moving in. We are having the holy ground finally, and also of course the circle of life, Stoneform, bringing so much sustain to Muradin, and this particular keep is very likely to fall. The boss actually not going to be able to drop it completely, but Cypher is already hammering in his auto attacks on the Falstad copy. Very well done. Core there, well, Breeze might be in trouble. There's the Sundering, and Breeze with a Divine Shield is moving away for now. Yeah, uses again his shield there, but nope, they are really going for him now, and they're going to get him eventually. So Johanna is down. It's still a fair trade. Johanna killed, and in exchange you get not only that fort in the middle, but you're also able to drop that keep to the top. That's completely fine for them now. 18, nearly 19 versus 17. We're having 3 kills against 1. Solid position here again for Fnatic on the map. But Dignitas is trying to utilize that advantage that they have with the earlier level, well, with basically that 5 versus 4. Forza is basically saying just like, yeah, screw you and back off. But 26 seconds until Johanna is back. So here is the attack once again. JPL, Bakery, Snitch, Schwimpy, and Aethera Angel in the mid lane right now. They're moving in again. They're trying to go for it. Maybe with a kill they could make this happen. But already Cypher is in a position where he's trying to just push the rest of the team away. It is an attempt for keep, and with Sylvanas you can really make these plays. They're trying to go for a kill against Mene. They don't quite get it yet, but they will get that keep now. 19 versus 17. In comes Falstad, where the copy at least tries to go for it. A nice stun lock against JPL, even with a Shrink Ray. Quackix is being attacked. Breeze is once again in the middle of the fight, going instantaneously for that Condemn. They don't have the 20 yet, and there's still Leap available. The move away, Tribute spawning on the map. They're trying to go for it. Here comes the Sundering, and they start to focus straight on Tyrael, and Tyrael is surviving thanks to Divine Palm, which did not trigger, by the way. So he's still very low. Leap engaged. Nice, good Divine Shield here, saving Thrall, was waiting for it. Great move here, actually. And Schwimpy jumping out once again. The chase is real in this one. They're really going for it. Bakery is going to dash away, but yep, instead they're moving up to the tribute now. Really nice engage there. Both of the teams losing one of their keeps now. Bot lane is still pressured. Falstad is doing, Avatar is doing Avatar things. And those Locust Brutes are really starting to bring the pain. But that tribute was an easy picking, and level 20 talents, of course, are going to be ready very soon now for Fnatic to give them the Storm talents. And with the Storm talents claimed, they will have a massive lead in when it comes to, well, the strength in those team fights. Dignitas made a very good move, by the way, going for that keep. That was a very good call, trying to drop this. Now the Locust Nest has been chosen for Avatar. We're seeing Redemption, Indestructible, Bolt of the Storm for Thrall, and for Falstad. It is most likely going to be the Nexus Frenzy for the extra auto attacks. And once that has been chosen, one thing that we are, of course, going to have a look at is the damage output. And damage output now on Thrall, 55,000 right now with that build. 46,000 on Falstad. It's going to increase rapidly over the course of this game thanks to the Seasoned Marksman stack and also, of course, the level 20 talent. When we're looking at Dignitas, then it's 44,000 on Sylvanas, and that's basically it. The rest of the team not really with too much damage there. And here comes the copy once again. They are going in, and we have Falstad not with the Nexus Frenzy. Instead, it is the Wind Tunnel that he takes here. They go for the second keep. They try to go for the positional heroic abilities. Cypher is already going to be dropped from that Falstad copy, but it doesn't really make too much of a difference. Abathar is playing a very solid game here. Can jump to the top lane, for example, start to pressure that again, or even move into the middle. Tribute number 2 is now taken by Fnatic. There's not really a big chance for Team Dignitas to actually fight against that. But of course, for the next one, they have to change things up a bit. Schwimpy is all alone on the map, and that is a bit of an issue. Stormbolt hits, but yeah, it doesn't really matter too much this way. They try to get experience. That's all that Dignitas tries to do right now. Get some experience, make sure that you have a good position here, make sure that you have a chance to at least hit level 20. Bosses are up, at least at the bottom of the map, that is. The one up here to the top in another few seconds. So they could go for it, but it's going to be boss for boss as Aethero Angel moves in at the bot lane. What about Abathar, though? Can he move in somewhere? Oh, they don't go for the boss. Up at the top, on the other hand, it's being bursted down. They will be too late. Dignitas is not going for the boss, and it looks like they're going to be too late here. Level 20 talents for both of them. Peaceful Repose has been chosen. Smexy style. Quacknix with the Wind Tunnel. And yep, that is making it impossible for them to contest it. Boss is taken, and they jump in against Bakery. Good damage against him. Cypher now also on the copy again for Thrall. Double Thrall against this setup. Bolt of the Storm for Sylvanas. Here comes Initiate. Smexy style low. Doesn't use his Divine Shield yet. Doesn't have to. Boss is pushing the top lane. Now there is no keep on the top lane anymore. There is no keep. There is the Cursed Tribute. Oh my god, Dignitas is in so much trouble now. Cursed Tribute against them, and at the bot lane another boss. They just fly in to take it. Actually a bit surprised that they didn't take the Tribute as well, but I guess they don't really need it for this one. With like 20 minutes in, these bosses hurt. They hurt a lot, and that's exactly why we're seeing that massive focus on it. It already starts to drop hit points off the core, and of course the whole idea here is now to use Aethero Angel to steal it away with the Holy Ground, which is something that they know perfectly well. That's why the Wind Tunnel is going to come into play again. Wind Tunnel already used, but it's a little bit... Oh, the timing does not work out. Oh, but it's too early. He jumps in, it's too early. Abathar takes the Tribute, goes for the Curse. Breeze is on the spot. In comes Sonya. They try to drop him. Indestructible is not going to be procced just yet, and the boss is stolen. Well played here. Uther is dead. Sonya is procced and nearly dying, but Falstad is flying in, trying to end the game. Quacknix goes in. Where's Abathar? Abathar is going to help him out any second. 50%. Nobody can move away. Everybody is stopped with the town portals, and Thrall is now with the team as well. A great backdoor attempt here, and yes, Quacknix has to move out for a second, but it doesn't matter. Fnatic takes the game and defeats Dignitas on Cursed Hollow to take the lead with the 2-1 in the best of 5 series.